Jeff McCain. I think this is Stacy Metal, I could be wrong. Danica Noble and Phil Mochek. We'll follow them with Dan DeLuca and Robert Bevan.
Hi, my name is Phil Mochek. I'm OCEK. I've been following what you're doing with great interest. This is pretty historic, and I'm excited about it. I want to address 3 concerns that I have. 1 about the goals for what you're doing. 2, governmental transparency, and 4, personal privacy. It's kind of unclear to me what the goals for the process that you're engaging in are. I'd like to see that really explicitly published so that we can evaluate the effectiveness of the rules that you create. I hope that among your goals is not an artificial scarcity of cannabis. I believe that anyone who proves that he or she is capable of doing the job right and pays the fee should be licensed to do so. On governmental transparency, I encourage you to be as transparent as you can in this process. Please, you're going to be creating lots of public records in the process. Just publish them to save yourselves and me the trouble of filing Public Records Act requests. And on personal privacy, this is the tricky part. We all need to keep in mind that the people who are going to make this happen for us, to have legal cannabis in Washington State, are technically going to be engaging in federal civil disobedience. Part of the cost of doing this should not be the risk of having your home or place of business raided by federal agents who do not care about the will of the people. I highly encourage you to consider, there was a study that was done and a paper published by Alexei Cheskis and Jacob Applebaum, part of the University of Washington's Privacy Computer Research Lab. And the findings that in their paper and the recommendations that they made for a privacy protecting registry were actually part of the bill that was torpedoed by Governor Gregoire last year. This would have gone into effect. So I have 4 copies of that paper and I will leave them with you. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Dan DeLuca, and I represent no one but me. My comment focuses on federal taxation, and I would like to see the state of Washington or the appropriate department provide tax guidelines showing how marijuana business people, growers, distributors, retailers, how they can file and pay federal income taxes with the aforementioned 800-pound gorilla, which still does not recognize marijuana as a legal product.
Okay, well then we'll move on to other folks. Yeah. Again, as soon as you see an open mic, just jump in there.
Thank you. I'm Robert Bevan. Robert Bevan. I just opened a business called Barry James Jar. I think everybody would know what that would be. I'm waiting for a license to be approved, of course. I'd like to point out a couple of things that are not pointed out. The #1 cash crop for China would be marijuana. Colorado already has all these things, which we know we're getting through the law enforcement part. We're going to seed to sale is what they do in Colorado. I would suggest that we follow up suit to that. If somebody knows that they're getting watched by a video camera, for some reason they're going to do the right thing. The study about the tons, how many tons of weed we're going to actually need. I think that the number of producers, the retailer should be limited to the amount of state liquor stores that we had before. I like that. It makes it more marketable for the producers. You don't think, well, that's public bidding. So the amount of tons is going to be based on how many growers we can have. So if we want to keep the little growers still here, we need to make a lot more room for licenses to get out there. Sorry, I'll go on here real quick. What happens to the plants after they're done? What happens to the stems? Do we have that verified in I-502 of what happens to everything? Okay. And also, because like I say, you can make lots of things out of it. I'd like to point out that the insurance company was who paid for this law. Obviously, we all know that. $400,000 obviously went for them to make this law happen, so that the medical field would probably swallow it up, which makes me worry about what we're going to decide in this state to protect the medical marijuana users. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, I'll call up Garrett Richards, Lucas Jashinsky, Scott Goggin, and then earlier I mentioned Jeff McKay and Anderson Hope. Okay, if I don't see anyone moving towards the microphone, I do see someone coming. In the meanwhile, let me call Michael Dare and Susan Pesey.
Hi, my name is Lucas Jashinsky. I'm here representing myself. I have Island Alternative Medicine Collective up on Whidbey Island, and I'm just here to reiterate that I want to make sure that the small business owner doesn't get left out of this process. And I also want to make sure that we don't just allow people to open up these retail outlets in the metropolitan areas. Like I said, I live on Whidbey Island, and I want to be able to open up a place up there. So please don't forget us little people. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Hi, my name is Michael Dare, and my rap sheet is my resume. I was busted for growing in 1971, and for 40 years I've developed a certain amount of expertise in the field. First of all, I'd like to point out that if you have not already done so, please read Jack Hearer's book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. Because we would not be here today if not for Jack's passion and his research and expertise. I would like to make use of my expertise with a booth at a farmer's market in Seattle, where I will sell local organic produce, just like all the other sellers in the farmer's market. I will sell nothing but high-end artisan marijuana grown by local farmers, no more than 5 at a time, who will be there at my booth to show their product and explain to the customers how they grew it. I will sell nothing but single buds that are a 1/4 ounce, a 1/2 ounce, and a full ounce. They will be displayed under glass. This will be the ultimate high-end marijuana. I will sell nothing but the wine equivalent of Chateau Mouton Rothschild. This will be entirely high-end. We will command top dollar. And the entire 50% tax would be collected at the point of purchase, because we don't need a processor. We could have a phantom processor who charges nothing, and you will get 25% of that. I would like to, anyone think this is a good idea? All right. Thank you. That is what I would like to do.
I felt it necessary to speak up for the
Your name first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Scott Goggin. I felt it necessary to speak up for the unemployed. That's about 20% of you. 8% still looking. I have great concerns. This all sounds great now. $250 for permit, renewal, $1,000 respectfully. But please keep in mind that when big business sees money, they will come in and take it away. Didn't the alcohol licenses just go for tens of thousands of dollars? I can never afford that. So being poor means I cannot participate. Whatever conspiracy you want to subscribe to, whether it be backroom deals or buying legislation, Marlboro already has the patent on the marijuana cigarette. You see what the tobacco industry did with cigarettes. Cyanide, chloroform, shredded fiberglass, and don't forget the gunpowder laced in the paper it's wrapped in. None of us want that. They will buy up all the permits and licenses through proxy fronts. My grandkids will ask me someday when we lost our rights, legally taken away. 5 years, 10 years. As soon as the circus dies down, and this is all as normal as Washington-grown apples, last but not least is its potency. The stronger it is, the less you have to consume, and less materials like cellulose and chlorophyll. We can keep this in consideration as we frame this process. Let's have the foresight to keep this for everyone. Thank you.
Meyer, Marche Taylor, George Williams, and Tom Jenner.
Hi, my name is Susan Pesey, and I'm here as a concerned citizen, and I think perhaps I bring a little bit different opinion to the table, and I just hope that I'm speaking to you and to everyone as well, that I come from the addiction field, and I am hoping that you remember that safety is part of the duty that you're in charge with. I think that there is a lot of opportunity. I was a supporter of this bill because I think it's important that we recognize that it's for recreational use, and that's what it's been happening for hundreds of years and will continue to happen. But there is a big safety component to helping understand. I've heard some great things. I'm so glad that I was here because I learned a lot. I love the idea of labeling and having everything right out there. I think that's an excellent idea. I really also want to help you steer where the funds that are coming in from the taxes, where those might be going, and really thinking about education. I heard someone here say, I want to know how this is going to affect my medication, how is this, and we are in an opportunity to take those funds and do something really exciting, meaning be the first to do some studies on what are the effects with other medications and what does it mean when you're consuming this and other products. So I'm here, hopefully everybody, to remember that this is a very powerful drug and that it has impact for a lot of users. I know a lot of people, my friends and families, that use it that are great, productive citizens, so I don't want it to sound like I'm anti, but I also know hundreds of people personally and otherwise that become addicted to this substance, and it's a big responsibility that you're taking on. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tom Jenner. I'm active on Reddit's microgrowth. My concern is the insecticides, organic phosphates. There needs to be some teeth behind keeping the pesticides out. $1,000 is nothing but a QP, a quarter pound, and so there has to be something that really has some teeth behind keeping the pesticides out. And am I to understand there's going to be a bidding process? Because, I mean, if there's a bidding process, that's going to keep the little guy out. There isn't a bidding process? Okay. And is there going to be some mechanism to help with people's bank accounts? My co-op has been raided twice by the DEA. So, it's something to consider. But I do have a list of stuff on Reddit that I'd like to drop off.
My name is Dave Michael. I'm a resident of West Seattle. With regard to the driving provisions of I-502, many believe that the 5 nanogram threshold is a bad joke. Many people believe that the 5 nanogram threshold of the driving provisions is a bad joke and is even worse science. Many people would argue that you can't even call it bad science because that would imply that a modern limit has been applied in the first place. First part of my question is, will the Liquor Control Board have the authority to develop policy that specifically directs funding for actual science to be applied toward enacting useful regulations that will better preserve public safety on the roadways? I'd like to make a couple of points on that note. First of all, there is no known scientific correlation whatsoever between the THC metabolite level in the bloodstream and the user's level of inebriation, let alone between levels of the multiple known and unknown psychoactive properties that contribute to the unique pharmacological complexities of marijuana. Marijuana simply is not like alcohol in that regard. In fact, to cite forensic medicine expert Dr. Matthew C. Lee, MD, quotes, contrary to alcohol, fraction of THC from marijuana is immediately taken up by the fat cells in the body, or is released slowly over time, and generally non-contributory to intoxication, but is the reason why marijuana can be detected in the blood so long after it is consumed, anywhere from 3 days to 1 month or more, depending on a number of individual parameters. Which I think begs the question is, do we know right now if the Washington State Patrol is planning to develop other more legitimate methods for determining marijuana-related DUIs? Secondly, as a lot of people here can tell you, figuratively speaking, 5 nanograms pretty much falls off the wrapper with the opening. I'm pretty sure by a show of hands here, there are a lot of people who would be surprised how many people around them are currently not under the influence of marijuana, but would be the first ones to tell you that they have more than 100 nanograms in their system. It's not uncommon at all. 10 years ago, federal DOT mandated random drug tests for truck drivers nationwide, didn't even designate a THC positive result until a threshold of 25 nanograms was exceeded. Now, random testing has become more accurate and much more sensitive over the years, but the fact of the matter is we're still just as archaic as we've always been with respect to the biological science that needs to be applied in relation to cannabis in the human body. My last question is really more rhetorical, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, not necessarily directed to the Liquor Control Board, but really more toward the bureaucratic elements of Washington State government that tend to frustrate us regularly. The question is, will good science be applied to this process at the beginning, or are we going to have to wait until enough doctors, lawyers, judges, and politicians rack up enough marijuana DUI arrests for having smoked a joint at home during a Seahawks game on Sunday, and then get pulled over for an unrelated reason on the way home from work on Tuesday? One last quick point on that, a little more serious note. Even more important than the concern, I think, over how bad science has the potential for innocent people being wrongfully arrested and branded, is my concern over how much potential there is for bad science being the culprit behind our failure to enact meaningful policy that might prevent someone's child from being killed by a marijuana-inebriated driver whom we might have otherwise been able to keep off the road had we been more responsible about it from the outset.
Call up Ryan Espigard, Chris McDaniel, Chris Keeley, Don Darrington, Donovan DeMar, and Melissa Heisen. Calling out more names than we've had. Someone asked how many pages we've been through. That's the end of page 5. Someone just brought me page 9, so there are 4 more pages to go after this. And we appreciate your help in moving along. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Espigard. I'm an attorney with Gordon Thomas Honeywell here in Seattle. I just want to highlight one issue that I believe this board needs to consider throughout the entire rulemaking process in order for legalization to succeed, and that is that the regulated system must be able to compete with the black market. In order to do that, obviously the final product must be comparable in price and quality to what is already available in Washington. So this board should take every step it can to avoid additional costs on producers, processors, and retailers where you can. With every single rule that you consider, I urge you to think about the consequences of that rule on the final cost of the product. Additionally, I urge this board to not limit supply. The level of demand in Washington currently is unknown. So any efforts you make to limit the number of licenses for producers or limit the quantity that can be produced could result in a situation where you have inadequate supply and you won't be able to compete with the black market. Along with that, I want to highlight a clear benefit of not having any limits on the number of producer licenses. Any individuals that are now currently growing illegally in Washington that are able to obtain a license will divert their supply from the black market to the regulated system. And that would be a victory for this board and for legalization. Everyone who is currently growing illegally that is denied a license will continue to grow and continue to supply the black market. Finally, I would just like to recognize the tremendously difficult job that you're faced with. So I would like to thank you for all the hard work you're going to have to put in for the next several months. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dawn Darrington. I'm the founder and CEO of Choice Wellness Center and several other companies that have to do with medical marijuana, and I'm an advocate, a strong advocate, as many of you normally know, for patients and medical marijuana. It's lovely to see all of you tonight, and I want to thank the Liquor Board for all of your tremendous work in the unenviable position and task that you have ahead of you. Much of what I would like to say has already been said. Let me tell you why we need the smallness, though, from a different standpoint. We have Cannabis is very unique from any other plant in the body. We have all these cannabinoid receptors. We don't have cabbage receptors or carrot receptors or tomato receptors. You know, this plant, we're supposed to be together. We have meant to be together. We've been together for millennium. And until it became a political issue 102 years ago, as a matter of fact, with the issues of rayon, is when the war started, and it's not a war on drugs, by the way, it's a war on people. And marijuana, by the way, is not a drug, it is an herb. Drugs are produced by pharmaceutical companies, and they kill people with great regularity for tremendous profits. We do not want to see that in this state with cannabis. We don't want to see Colorado in Washington. We have such a unique, beautiful opportunity to produce something that will go across the entire world. The world is watching us. We do need tremendously large grows, but only for species development, not for growing our medicine or our cannabis. But to do what the brilliant Matthew Gordon was talking about in terms of developing strains for specific ailments, we can actually, and I'm telling you right now, folks, 3 to 4 years we will be developing specific strains for you, and you, and you, because we all have, and you too, we all have our own biologies, our own things we're dealing with, our own little package of complaints, if you will. And because of our symbiotic relationship with this miraculous plant, we can actually grow them and tweak them to deal with our individual issues. I find this so exciting, I can hardly stand it. I have cured my cancer with cannabis. I find that so exciting, I can hardly stand it.
All day life.
And please, Friday night evening, when you get home, 10 o'clock, you had a hard week, you want to sit back and relax, turn on Comcast Channel 77 and watch All Day Live. If you live outside of the Seattle area, you can, it's on archive on the internet, and we have some cards we can pass out. For the last year, we've been doing hourly programs every week, primarily about medical cannabis. And now it's like totally about medical cannabis unless something really interesting comes along. We certainly invite the control board to join us. And I have to shut up now, but I'm happy to talk to anybody later. Thank you.
My name is Donovan DeMar, and I represent a medical marijuana patient myself. And I'm a small business owner and entrepreneur. I was in Olympia. It's a lot cooler here today. It's pretty bad. Most of what I have to say is for citizens that are planning to make an active role in implementation. By the way, this is, I mapped this at 6 minutes, so you can stop me at any time. Some of this may, some of this is my understanding from the community at the first meeting. Let me start over again. Some of this is my understanding from the community at the first meeting, medical, recreational, and non-users, from what I've seen in polls and on signs in medical cannabis facilities. I believe we need to make a strong effort to understand this law and help this forward with the implementation and practical understanding of what some of us have been developing and others of us are starting to respect as a diverse and strongly developed community. It seems like many mentioned they want the businesses to stay in small to medium sizes, while a few mentioned how those who have dreamed of this opportunity want to expand far beyond the limits that they fear, that the fear of criminalization put on their tattooed talents. As a small business owner and entrepreneur, I understand the fear of being shut out by a lottery or exasperating regulations. But when you ask for small operations, what do you mean by that? Do we want to restrict the ability to expand a quality product to increasing demands and eliminate the dream of the small guy to climb over the rest? Or should every container have a shot at a bigger slice of an underestimated billion-dollar green rush? Or are we asking that major existing corporations have an equal or lesser opportunity at licenses by way of small business incentives or big business disincentives?
Jonathan?
Yes.
I'm going to make a suggestion that you get that printed out and get it sent to us.
Okay.
2 minutes or up.
Oh, really? Okay, no problem.
You can summarize.
Yeah, I guess what I'd like to say basically is just that, take some consideration from the community, from medical members here. I don't think criminal records should be a big deal. I think that you're going to get a lot of help from the people who probably have criminal records, and that the FBI getting handle of their credit checks is a big deal.
Be specific about which one, or which criminal records.
Specifically, I would say medical possession. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't advocate criminals getting into the industry, but I believe that there are criminals that could be in the industry that don't need to be excluded. And so I think it should be on an individual basis.
Thanks, Donovan.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melissa Heisem. I was in front of you guys just earlier this week. I have a couple notes down so that I can explain to you guys what I seem to see mostly in our community. I have 4 children. I have multiple sclerosis, and I am a patient. And I do need good quality, organic medication for my illness. And there are specific kinds that help me, as others have said, that help them too. There are a few things for the people, are credit unions or banks, so that we can do our banking. Tax-free medicine for patients. We have a role to fill for the rest of the country. We have to make a difference. We have to spread this and make it right for the rest of the country so that they can follow suit. And I hope you guys listen and actually call these people that have given their numbers and their names that want to give you guys all the information they need, or you need, to help us follow suit as a city, as a state, to fill our role that we have given ourselves, fighting for cannabis to be free. Let's see. One more thing that nobody has really mentioned was there are robberies that are taking place now amongst our citizens, and there needs to be that addressed. As far as hemp and fuel goes, we need to make it open for hemp, for plants to be grown hemp-wise, 1,000 there, 2,000. We need a lot of hemp grown for our country, for our state. Let's see. I guess that's it. I spent 2 minutes. Thank you guys. Oh, yeah, let's bring a marker.
Okay, I'll call up John Dickinson. I have a Gary, no last name. Dale Salisbury. Dylan, and boy, your last name either starts with a D or it's Odell. So I'll call those 4 up while this gentleman starts.
My name is Frank Montgomery. Anyhow, I've been a patient and used cannabis for over 30 years. I'm also an advocate, and I'm also a care provider. I'm a registered nurse, and my thoughts on the situation is that the medical community that's already established is, an existing model by which there's been a framework, so to say, that I think would be possibly helpful in implementing legalization. I think maybe the people that should be selling or doing the transactions and stuff, if they possibly had like a verification or like a certification to where they are following, say, like HIPAA, the type of privacy statutes and whatnot that are already observed by healthcare, that might be helpful toward addressing people's privacy concerns and whatnot, and creating an environment where people feel comfortable in their transaction, and it's done in a professional and credentialed or
fashion. And I think that, you know, we already have a community that's so capable and has all the framework and tools already in place for this to go forward. So I don't see where anyone should really be excluded in the process. You know, there's so many people here that are capable of bringing it, you know, bringing this to the Washington State. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call up Nathan Messer, Rod Murray, Amy Warner, Don Skakey, Cole Morgan, and Wyconda Weber.
My name's Rod, and I represent the people that want to make enough money to pay their utilities, their house mortgages, buy food for their families.
All right.
I also have questions. If I get a license and I grow, when it comes time to pay my taxes, I'm going to give you a check. What are you going to do with it? The second thing is, there's nothing in here about seeds. Marijuana costs $50 a gram. Seeds cost $20 to $30 each. I'd rather grow seeds. There's no taxation on that. There's not even mentioned in here. The second thing, I've been a policeman. So we've got a problem with the medical marijuana law. They keep thinking they're federal agents. They get paid by the state of Washington. They're supposed to uphold the laws of the state of Washington, yet they start working with the federal people. Did they forget who they work for? That's it for me.
Hi, my name is Don Skakey. I work with a group under the banner Real Legalization, legalization.org. Reform is going to continue in Washington State. I think that what a lot of people don't understand is that the board is bound to follow the law that was passed. As much as we would like to legitimize the industry that we've created in the manner that we have to realize that it's going to be following the rules that were in the initiative that the people should have read and voted on when they thought they were voting on something else. So to keep your eyes out for legalization, I mean, 502 should have eliminated the penalty for sharing. We'll be doing that. It should have provided for home growing and sharing with your neighbors, provide for that. And as was previously mentioned, the 5 nanogram limit is not a consistent indicator of impairment across the population, a manner that point of it is for alcohol. So we'll be calling for the removal of the 5 nanogram limit. But we don't want to be on the streets with anyone who's impaired, while at the same time not wanting to be on the streets and having our property deprived from us or liberty when we are in fact not impaired. So for all of you that come up and comment, please, it took me 5 hours, but read 502 from top to bottom. These are the rules that we're going to be operating under. But to the board, I've got to say, in the next 2 years, when things come to pass, that they can change what 502 is under. Listen to what's being said now, because these are the rules that you're going to be wanting to be implementing to really realize the full wealth of cannabis for the people of Washington State. And it was an initiative of the people. I personally didn't support it for a lot of reasons, but we are moving ahead from there, and I'm grateful that 502 didn't pass because of that. A lot of people are now a lot freer to even attend these meetings and publicly speak. So my applaud to all of you. Yeah, you might want to consider the Washington Cannabis Regulation Board because you cannot control cannabis. And also please include other cities such as Bellingham, Walla Walla, Wenatchee, and the Tri-Cities. The rural areas, I mean, we seem from the schedule to be really well represented in the larger cities. But there's a lot of people in Washington State that would love to speak to you if only they had the opportunity. And sometimes cost and distance is a big effect for that. And other times of day as well. I mean, these evening meetings are great for people that work a 9-to-5 job, but a lot of people that are concerned with this going forward are not on that schedule. So in your future meetings, you might want to have those. And also bigger rooms. Obviously, people couldn't attend here. Or they're attending on a satellite link, but more meetings, listen to the people. There's going to be a lot of people saying they represent medical marijuana patients or other groups. And please listen to them speak. Listen to what their agendas are. I think you can read between the lines on a lot of them. But let the people of Washington enjoy the wealth of cannabis equally. Thank you.
My name is Al Warner. I'm the founder and CEO of Cannabis Creations Body, a fertile hemp seed oil and premium cannabis flower topical medicinal manufacturer created right here in Seattle in 1995.
Nice.
In our first 10 years of the cannabis business, we produced a body care line made from a wide range of natural botanicals with pure essential oils from aromatherapy and fertile hemp seed oil derived from the male cannabis plant. In the beginning, we imported our oil from Inner Mongolia, later and to this day from Canada, due to the fact that prohibition on hemp is still alive and well in the United States of America. The business had many challenges, but we somehow managed to find ourselves in the pages of Vogue magazine, distributed all over the United States and Canada, and in 1999 we won the Pioneer Award for Outstanding Achievement in Body Care from Hemp Times magazine. We knew then, what is just as true now, it is about carving out enough of a niche to be desirable for purchase when big money comes to call. Soon enough, Dr. Bronner's, Jason's Products, Bird Bees, and Body Shops were all prominently featuring omega-rich hemp seed oil in their product lines. The mainstreaming of hemp happened before our eyes. In 2005, we closed our doors for business but continued to experiment and develop our products. During this time, we discovered that the female cannabis plant had powerful healing effects, that a multitude of cannabinoids in the cannabis flowers, including THC, but more importantly for topicals, CBD, cannabidiol, are welcomed by the body through receptors to help with a myriad of symptoms. What we now know is that cannabis topicals are highly effective, localized pain management option. They are non-psychoactive. This means that people can use them to alleviate pain and inflammation throughout the day without experiencing mind alteration. Topicals are a safe and healthy alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. They have been shown to be beneficial in the treatment of various skin conditions such as eczema, psoriasis, acne, herpes, and yes, hemorrhoids. We currently operate under the MMJ Collective Garden model and are proud to serve Washington patients. But looking forward into the future, we want to be in recreational retail outlets, but topicals are not for recreational use. Cannabis topicals are not marijuana, do not get you high, and will not bring the revenue that all other cannabis-infused products will. Topicals will not be able to withstand the heaviest of taxations proposed on recreational cannabis. We simply won't be able to compete with similar non-cannabis products. Because of all this, we ask that you regulate cannabis topicals differently from all other cannabis products. We also ask that you think about a separate permit for retailers other than 502 recreational stores to carry cannabis topicals. Please give us the opportunity to grow our businesses in this exciting new industry. Our hope is that eventually our products will take their rightful place in stores and spas like Whole Foods and super supplements of Beta and Chinois S, next to all the other homeopathic remedies. We welcome the opportunity to show you our products. We take what we do very seriously and hope to be of service with you during this transition.
Okay, I'll call up John Trong, Molly Sam, Mike Graham Squire, and Christy Stanley, and Sean Eddy. We'll move into these names relatively quickly. I'm going to assume that if you're not coming forward, that maybe you didn't want to comment before you left. So I don't see anyone moving, so let's go ahead and call Dennis Boone, Bo Owsley, okay, Sean Scolari, Frank Montgomery, Gordon Scott, and Mike Mulvaney. Whoever gets up there, just go ahead and start up.
Hello, good evening. I'm Sean Eddy, and I did speak to you in Olympia, and I appreciate that. Since that time, I've gotten some feedback on my business spreadsheet that I handed you folks, and I've gotten a little bit more definitive about the large 10,000 square foot grow and the money that it will take to do that and the overhead and how that all filters down to profit. Because if a large marijuana grow can't make enough profit, then they don't have the ability to have the fluctuation for crop failure, for the retail market fluctuations, for any of the normal and regular things that businesses come up with. And so I did double check my figures on the taxation, and I found that I was in fact calculating it correctly, and it just doesn't pencil out. I would love to be able to talk with anybody in this room or anybody in Colorado or anybody that you guys are in connection with to prove me wrong that this model can be profitable, so that those of us that do want to expand into the 502 model are insured profitability. Well, nobody's insured profitability, but are insured a good shot at it. Because with the 25% tax, that cuts into profits so heavily that there's just not enough room for fluctuation when you're only making 4% a year. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sean Scolari. I manage a nonprofit collective for called CannRx. We've been growing marijuana for about 16 years. Retail now for about 9 months. Oh, excuse me. And we do pay sales tax to the state. We pull that out of our end, so we pull that out of our $10 gram price. The thing that I'm concerned about is that the state's going to need to license small growers. The state doesn't license small growers. What we're going to see is a collapse in the price. The state's model is built on a $12 gram price. Nothing in our store is over $10 a gram right now. What we know is that we are vertically integrated. We do grow product, and we do process product, and we do retail product. If we were not vertically integrated, the numbers wouldn't work. There's not enough margin built into the pricing with what the wholesale market demands right now. If you look at what it costs to produce cannabis, it's about $635 a pound. And if you extrapolate out what that works out to be a gram after you add in 50 points in origin at the wholesale point and at the retail point, and you add tax at both the wholesale and only the retail point, the excise tax, and then add the sales tax at the retail point, and you exclude the 25% for the processing, it works out to be about $9.74 a gram. If you do not allow small growers to grow, you're going to see the collapse of that price. These people will be able to bear a lower price point at the wholesale price point, and your numbers of $12 a gram will not work. Collectives right now that are retailing their product for $12 to $15 a gram are going to go out of business, and they are going out of business as we speak. We're seeing these places close down, or other people assume them and come in and change the business model for a lower price point. So I think that it's really important that we look at the licensing process and how we're going to license people to grow. Washington State probably is substantially different than Colorado, because Colorado did not have an established growing community that Washington State has right now. So the retail market will definitely compete against the black market if you don't allow the black market to be involved. If you make it be a large-scale growers deal where you got to produce 1,800 pounds a month, that's going to cost you $500,000 a month to just run that facility, let alone the profit you make. They can't afford to sit on the product because they're not going to have the retail establishments to get the product off quick enough for them, and they're going to sit there and potentially collapse. In the process, what's going to happen is you're going to actually have the black market actually kind of compete with what they're doing, and you won't see the tax dollars. Right now, you get the tax dollars based on people buying things, buying cars, buying homes, all these things that happen right now. So there's going to be a tax exchange. It's not going to be as simple as we got 25% excise tax. There's going to be a huge tax exchange. And I think that we're going to have to definitely look at allowing all these people in the room to actually grow marijuana and be licensed to do so. Otherwise, the state's going to be competing against them. It's probably going to lose out in the process. So that's all I have to say today.
My name is Mike Momney, and I am preemptively forming the Washington State Cannabis Tourism Association. This is something we haven't really discussed much here, and I've been hearing a lot of different things. One of the things is limiting the amount that we grow. We definitely need to calculate in how many tourists are we going to bring in. What are they going to buy? My take on Governor Inslee's meeting with A.G. Holter was the Fed's concern is that we don't export marijuana. The best way to not export it is to invite them in. Let them partake here, enjoy it, just like we do with liquor right now. I mean, we have the cruise ships coming in, all kinds of tourists coming into this state. And we need to grow quality stuff there. We really have a major worldwide opportunity here right now. The one idea I contemplated, for instance, is the gorge at George. It could be the Ganja Gorge at George. It could be a worldwide event. The gorge is already a worldwide venue. So to add ganja to it. The other question I was thinking about is, what are we going to do, for instance, if we were to do something like the Gorge at George? How can we have temporary retailers be on site? Do they have to be in locations? Can we issue temporary licenses for retailers that do have on-site locations? Something to think about. Thank you.
My name is Dennis Boone, and I'm a 46-year-old Tulalip tribal member. I'm also a major convulsive epileptic. I fall into that small category of people who qualify for medical marijuana where I actually need it to live. On my reservation, it's being denied to us. And tribal members only, because they have no jurisdiction over non-tribal members. And I was led to believe that in this country, that you weren't to be discriminated because of your race. This were the exact words, I know this sign is shocking, but this was the exact words that were said to over 400 voting tribal members at one of our general council meetings. One of our tribal members actually said this on the floor at the meeting. We are cross-jurisdictional with the state. We signed a compact agreement for all Washington state laws in 2007, and they are totally disregarding that agreement that they made. And our tribal judges and our prosecuting attorneys are members of the Washington State Bar, but blatantly refuse to follow Washington state law. My question and the help that I need today from the people of Washington is, why should they be allowed to remain members of the Washington State Bar if they won't follow Washington state law? Thank you.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and fellow citizens of the city of Seattle and the state of Washington. My name is Bo Odyssey. It is very evident that the popularity of the recreational use of marijuana by the vote that has happened, and also by the magnitude of the hemp fest. I highly recommend reading the book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It is an herb. It has been blessed by God. We read that in Genesis 1 of the Bible. It is a very versatile herb. There is the industrial use, the recreational use, and the pharmaceutical use. In The Emperor Wears No Clothes, it talks about where Henry Ford experimented to make a car out of hemp plastic. How about for some humor? Cannabis bus, which would be a bus, metal bus made out of industrial hemp plastic. We need to keep the big companies out. Look how they have done with tobacco. They put all sorts of terrible things in it. And we need to keep it small. We need to keep it organic. We have to keep the black market out. We have to keep the big business out, because they put a lot of stuff in our food. Natural flavoring on a lot of our foods. What is that? We need to keep it organic, keep it small, and so regulate it, but not overburden tax. Look how Amsterdam has done. A war on drugs is a war on people. The war on drugs is over. It's a waste of tax money. It is a waste of human resource. Long live marijuana. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the city of Seattle, fellow citizens of the state of Washington.
Thank you. So I will now call up Kyle Petrie, Brandon Johnson, Damon Shelton, Michael Osborne, and Gary Hughes.
Hello, Kyle Kettner, representing Northwest Town. I wanted to point out two things so far that I've heard already. One was the effects that certain cannabis might have while you're also taking another drug, such as alcohol or pharmaceuticals. I think that's very important for people who might have schizophrenia or other psychological disorders. They need to know what effects they might have, once this is legal and they can get their hands on it, if they're already on some sort of medication, if there's harmful effects. Another thing was, I think, this is a domino effect. We've got 2 out of 50 dominoes, 48 left to go. Once states like Oregon and Idaho start passing this, we need to make sure that we have an import tax, because we don't want their market or their product building up our market. I think it needs to be, mostly us. So I think it's important to find an import tax. And one question that I'd like to hear an answer to, and I think everyone else in this room would, is what's the limit on permits? How many permits are you guys going to issue?
We don't know.
Well, I hope it's a lot. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Osborne. I represent Suburban Medicinals. A lot of familiar faces here. Pretty much everything has been said. The primary purpose of meetings like this is to plant seeds. We know there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a long road to get there. And I just wanted to go over a couple of the things and add one too in this process. One was, it had been mentioned about disposing of materials, the stems, the stalks, and so forth. And I just wanted to point out that there's not necessarily a hazmat that you could take, to put stems and stalks and stuff that has active medicine still in it. At this point now, we can't just go ahead and compost. Even though we've been doing this stuff, there's a difference between the way we have done stuff and the way we're going to need to do stuff. So, there's potential cottage industries for small grade textiles and paper products that can be used, but we have to distinguish. You wouldn't have a bar empty out its bottles at the end of the night with a shot left in each one for anyone underage to come up and avail themselves of that. And coinciding with that, education. That I think that if the Liquor Control Board is going to be responsible for overseeing this, that they also need to dispel a lot of the myths and make people aware. For example, a lot of emphasis has been placed on, the testing and the THC numbers and cannabinoids, but that's not necessarily an accurate reflection of how it will affect you, because we're all individually different. And just because a product has 23% THC does not mean it's going to make me as intoxicated it might make someone else. And then one last thing that nobody has mentioned, that it's currently now with the laws of the state, that the possession of a firearm in conjunction with the possession of marijuana is in and of itself a crime. And I'm just wondering now that with this current, with the proliferation that's about to come, is that going to be addressed? Will I be allowed to exercise my Second Amendment rights to protect myself and my property and business from ne'er-do-wells? Thank you.
My name is Gary Hughes. I manage a local bar, so I have a lot more interaction with the LCB than I think a lot of people here do. Almost everything has already been covered, everything I wanted to say, but what I really wanted to point out is that we need some sort of review process so that when we've made these decisions, when you guys come up with the regulation, not just that we get a chance to go over it beforehand, but that a year from now, 2 years from now, that we come up with these rules in such a way that we have a chance to look back and see which mistakes we made, because we are going to make mistakes as we come up with the regulation. It is going to need to be readdressed a year from now, maybe biannual, but something so that we have a chance to make a difference after we've already made the decisions, so that we can undo any mistakes that get made during the process. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Brandon Johnson, Seattle city citizen, and I've been looking through I-502. I encourage everyone to look at it from the beginning to the end. There's a provision in there that says you can get your cat and dogs now. But the one I'm going to address is the provision that says that you only have to live here for 3 months to get a license. Now, we voted this in as Washingtonians, and I think Washingtonians should benefit, not people from out of state that move here to profit.
Yes, sir. Okay, I will call up Anthony Gibbs, Ron Kiger, Mike Romano, Juan Elizondo, and Isaac Curtis.
Hi, Board. My name is Mike Romano. I gotta give it to you guys. I was at your Olympia meeting. It's insane. I don't think you guys realize how big this underground business is. It's huge. And you guys have a chance to make precedents here, and everybody said it over and over, but you guys really do. For the world. To bring value to our state, to bring jobs, to bring commerce. And that could be like a really big deal for our whole state. You guys need to not rush this process. It seems like everybody just wants to get it done and get those licenses. But if we don't do this right from the beginning, it's going to be wrong the whole way. And you're going to be trying to fix it and fix it and fix it and fix it. Boeing builds planes once, and they fly. You know, we don't build them with half-ass parts, and hopefully they fly, because we know what happens, they crash. You need to take in consideration, probably most of these people in this room are microbrewers. We're modern day moonshiners. I've been doing this since I was 11. I came home from dinner one night and my pot plants were on the table. I was 11. I've been doing this a long time. There's a lot of knowledge in this room, a lot of people that know what they're doing. And it'd be smart to listen to these people because they know what they're doing. They've been running this for 40, 50 years. I think big business should be in the last part of the licensing. This is all small people. We're all mom and pops, underground pot growers, I guess. And corporations are going to kill it. They're going to ruin it. We need quality, boutique, good marijuana, not just a bunch of commercial, here's 12,000 tons. We don't need that. I think 1,000 licenses is way not enough. I mean, if you're talking to the whole state of Washington, when you guys have meetings in Spokane, Yakima, it's like 5 per county. And that just doesn't seem like enough licenses. I think felons that are convicted for pot like me should be able to do it. Here, here. We shouldn't be excluded, you know. We paid our debt to society, we did what we did, and now we're trying to do better. This. I think really the taxation should be slowly implemented. If you just hit the consumer right out of the gateway, 25%, 25%, 25%, they're going to go to the black market. They're not going to come to the stores. They can get it all sorts of different avenues right now. You know, there's medical, there's underground, there's going to be commercial. If the price is too high, they're not going to come. With cigarettes, I'm a smoker. When I started smoking, cigarettes were, goddamn old, 55 cents a pack. Now they're $10. But that tax didn't come in one day. The state has slowly raised it. And I think you guys are making a mistake by taxing it so high right out of the gate. You need to get your consumer base in and slowly work on it.
Your 2 minutes?
Okay, yeah, I've got thanks.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Gibbs. I'm an attorney here in the city. I'm speaking for myself. First of all, I just want to say they are listening to everybody, so let's keep encouraging this process. That's what rulemaking is for. If you have more comments, send them in. It's their job to sort through the thousands and thousands to get. That's how this process works. I just want to say briefly the incentives. Right, this is a big overview of the proposal. I think this will reinforce the black market, and the commercial legitimate will never get off the ground with a 75% tax system. That might be made many times. I just think that each one of those is an opportunity for the black market to dig in deeper. That seems to be counter to the purpose of 502. A couple other points I just want you to think about. Will the Washington Uniform Commercial Code apply to these transactions? Because it should. Or will there be an exception to it? If this industry is going to be under the light of day, then the Uniform Commercial Code should control. If none of you have read it, just poke it into the Washington Uniform Commercial Code. It's a gap filler in contracts. Another point I would say, ultimately we're precipitating a showdown with the federal government, which is probably a good thing. In light of that, however, it seems imperative that the regulations drafted could survive federal scrutiny. Obviously, you've heard a lot of, hey, let's pull the cork and go for this. In that case, I think we lose in the Supreme Court. In order to prevail in that forum and spread this freedom across the land, I think this is the most important point. You folks have a job that I don't envy, but would love to help. The final thought, you're hearing a lot of people say, hey, let's allow the free market to regulate prices and this and that, but then they're saying no corporations are allowed. Those two statements don't exist in the same world. I would suggest that when the inevitable federal government showdown comes, that we may want Monsanto at your back, because they have untold billions of dollars. And if those are going to be protected, they will stand up for you in those circumstances. The Bud Light versus Mac and Jack's argument is a fallacious argument because people enjoy both Budweiser and Bud Light simultaneously, sometimes for different occasions. That's it. Thank you.
I'm moving to the last page. If you, for some reason, did not get on the sheet, walk over to Samantha now. It can be added on this last sheet. So I will call up Reed Peterson, Ronald Johnson, Devron Zeidlitz. Now, since the last two speakers have spoken of taxation, you didn't hear me earlier. We have not finalized this, but at this point, internally, our staff interpretation is that if you are licensed at both the producer and processor level, the same legal entity, and you make a transaction between yourself, that 25% does not apply. Okay, just so you know, and with that 7%, we got everything about the AG and everything, but because I brought that issue forward, because folks have asked it to clarify. That's the current thinking of the staff. That you will know if that interpretation changes, but I just want to make sure that's clear. Maybe it doesn't answer all of your questions about how it's going to be priced, but it's something to consider.
Thank you. My name is Reed Peterson. I'm here just to speak my mind on cannabis and what we're doing. It is a huge opportunity for the state of Washington and the people of Washington, and you know, like they're saying, the world's watching, so we should really do it right. The big thing, again, is the little guys, you know, keep it open to the little people, because it's the little people that make this industry, and it's the little guys growing a couple, 2 or 3 plants here in their closet that are creating new hybrids and creating new strains, and it's something that people growing up now can find a place in today's legal world. People who have had to hide and, you know, be criminals for years and years and years actually have a valid place in this market, which is going to make you guys a whole lot of money, and the people of the state of Washington. So it's great. I do think, you know, of course people do like Budweiser, but again, like the gentleman said, it has its place, and so we should have a really strong focus on keeping alive the you know, the little microbrews that make this what it is. And as far as I hear a lot of people talking about capping numbers of plants and things like that, and I think a lot should be should be looked at when doing that, because there are so many different ways to cultivate marijuana, from outdoors to indoors, from hydroponic to soil, and with all of those different methods, you know, some may require a greater number of plants, whereas, you know, a guy growing outside can grow 4 or 5 plants and get, you know, saying that it might take a person growing indoors hydroponically hundreds of plants. So if you guys really take a good look at that, that'd be greatly appreciated, at least from my point. I also think that it's imperative that we take into consideration, you know, the fact that the more people you guys include right now, as opposed to being exclusive and excluding people, the more people you include now, the bigger and the stronger that this is going to grow over the years. And, you know, this is ground level. Let people in. Let's do it. I mean, you know, get it going. And it's going to sort itself out. If someone can produce, they're going to survive. If someone cannot produce quality or, you know, enough quantity, then they will not survive. So, yeah, it's a big deal, and I think a lot of that money should go to scientific research and protecting the plant itself. That was my third point. I think, you know, not enough has been said about protecting cannabis, the plant, you know, and I think we should protect it from genetic trademarking, which is something that we've seen happen with other plants, and, you know, we see the nightmares that that causes. So I think definitely marijuana should be protected from that, and yeah, keep it small and local and cottage, and if we do it right, you know, all these people that you let in now are going to help pave the way to the rest of the country when it finally does come to them. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the frontline people who were fighting to make marijuana legal in Washington. I really thank you for what you did, because I would have never been that brave to do that. 如果你想走到在西雅图创业，你可以因为大麻这么好的中药。So, I'm a small business owner. I'm also a member of.
And your name is?
我的名字是卢德。My name is Devon Zygons. I'm a member of the Religion of Jesus Christ Church, where we practice sacrament, use of marijuana in our religion. It's a part of many religions, which a lot of people don't know. Rastafari, some aspects of Buddhism, Orthodox Christianity in Ethiopia, etc. And me, I'm a practicing Buddhist. And I also like to really address the 25% tax. Totally uncool. If you look at the long run, on a serious note, if you look at the long run, the black market that I'm staring at right now, which is the people that are here, anybody who's an American citizen under the Constitution should be entitled to a license to some point of dealing in the business of marijuana. Here's my business license. I'm an international business consultant and distributor, and I have a small business. And if it exceeds the regular taxes or the standard taxes that are going on right now, it's totally uncool, because you can get every black market person to come out and do it by the book and get way more money over a long term, including tourism. I'm glad that I pulled that out, because everybody's coming here. I've met people from China and people from Washington, D.C. that moved here strictly to use medical marijuana or marijuana. So, yeah. I also say that for a lot of the people I consult. A lot of foreigners, they come here, I try to help them to bring their business in line with the Liquor Control Board. I've done some liaison work with you guys to bring a lot of Asian restaurants and Asian establishments into line with the laws, the Department of Revenue, and also with the Liquor Control Board. So, and I have all my foreign friends complaining about the taxes, and they aren't able to adjust to the recession that we are still currently in. And to finalize what I'm saying is, to me it looked at, you know, keeping it simple, George Bush and Barack Obama gave away a lot of our stimulus money to their rich corporate friends, and I think we not do that. Don't take marijuana away from us. I mean, these people know way more than anybody meeting the criteria on the Washington page for the marijuana consultant does. These people will actually be teaching that person. And so we really need to give this project back to the black market, the people who are handling it responsibly and actually running the marijuana access points. And I'm also a medical marijuana patient. I also helped build the light rail, and that's why I ended up a patient. So thanks a lot.
The last three names I have on this sheet are Justin Wang, Dan Lee, and Kevin Griffin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Justin Hong. I'm a lot of things. I'm a student at the UW Foster School of Business. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm actually starting an ancillary cannabis business. And I'm also a medical marijuana patient. And I'm here to speak on behalf of patients everywhere in Washington. And I want you guys to know that it's very imperative that you need to set up clear guidelines for medical marijuana patients. I know that I read the initiative and it said it will not affect current medical marijuana law. Now, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that a medical marijuana patient can be a producer? Is that okay? I think it should be okay. Maybe a lot of other people might say otherwise. And I also think that because there's so much expertise in the medical marijuana industry, I believe that it is prudent to be able to give them first dibs on all of these licenses for production, processing, and retailing, because they actually have the expertise and the knowledge to be able to carry this out on a larger scale. And with that said, I think that everyone has talked about the 25% excise tax a lot tonight, and it's true that that is going to, the way that it's modeled currently, is going to render useless the power to create a functioning, legal, recreational medical marijuana industry. And another thing that I think should be addressed is starting correspondence with IRS, because the way that the tax code is written, you cannot take deductions for quote-unquote illegal, for the sale of illegal drugs. So the way that medical marijuana businesses are getting around this is that they're selling other things so that they're able to write off the rent that they're not using to actually traffic marijuana. So with I-502, it says that a retail store is only allowed to sell marijuana, marijuana-infused products, and paraphernalia. But then they wouldn't be able to write off their whole rent, utilities, or anything like that, crippling the business even further, leaving no profits and possibly even back taxes for these business owners. I think that it's really important that we begin correspondence with federal tax regulators.
Okay, I had Landon Hogue, whose name was added as well.
Hi, I am Landon Hogue. I represent myself. I just wanted to reiterate that I agree with the small operation idea. I'm not a Washingtonian by birth, as most people aren't. I came from Oregon a long time ago, but I think there's room for any entrepreneur that wants to come to our state and be a part of this. Great, because I've met a lot of Washingtonians that they're jackasses. So anyway, I think we should open that up to it. But I'm thinking maybe something in terms of a scalable license. If Monsanto wants to come here and grow pot, that's fine. I'm not going to try it, but that's okay. But something like that for small growers, something bigger growers, something that makes evens the playing field so there's room for everybody to succeed. We can do win-win on this. Another point is making sure that we can get insurance. I mean, crop insurance. Crops go bad, we get broken into. Any restaurant or store would have an opportunity to have insurance for that. And I'm not sure if we can because of the Fed's running things. And it's just something to consider. maybe perhaps cooperative licenses. If there's a large growth space that they can sublet to other people, so small growers can just use a little plot of that, but they can all be together in a license. Maybe that would be something along those lines of a scalable license. Again, I wanted to agree with the research license. It's for people who are doing breeding. They need space. They need to do it legally. They need to do it above board. And the last most important thing I really want to ask about is if anybody who's got a license in Washington State and they're in compliance with Washington State, would you be willing to propose to the state that Washington State will stand with us if the federal government comes on? That if we are in compliance with our state doing what we need to do, that the government, our government of this state will say, no, no, no.
I'll speak to that because our Attorney General Ferguson, who is a former council member here in your city, has said that they are preparing a lawsuit to fight anything the feds would do in order to do the will of the Washington voters. So if that happens, I think we've got a state agency that is ready to defend the will of the voters.
Put it in writing.
I'll take it 1 minute now, but I have to stand up for Washingtonians. I'm a fifth generation Washingtonian as I took off then. So I invite everybody from California and Idaho to come up here and share their expertise. But leave Oregonians out, okay?
Hi, I'm Kevin Griffin. I represent a collective called West Coast Wellness in North Seattle. And what I basically just wanted to reiterate what we heard earlier was a lot of people worried about losing the right to grow. And I think that we have an open mind and start keeping things more medical and recreational, more recreational. If it gets tougher on the medical side, it's just going to push the recreational user over to the recreational stores. But where it's going to be at for the growers, as patients, is they can develop strains that are high yielding and with short flower times that appeal to the recreational user, and then trademark those strains, and I'm sure we'll be able to sell them to the commercial grower and be a part of the process that way. I mean, I'm assuming that there'd be a lot of money in someone coming in trying to find that strain. We all covet our good strains on the medical side. Another thing that I think is a positive thing is that on the medical side, the more medical we keep it, the more we do breeding and address illnesses and try to find cures. And basically, like Harborside's doing the Project CBD, which is amazing for pain. We can do the same. We keep the statistics, do the research, and find the best recreational strains, and keep it on the recreational side, and just separate medical from recreational, and just they'll benefit each other. I think that there shouldn't be any tax on the medical, and I think if we make it a little bit harder to get a medical license, you need to have serious illnesses and stuff to qualify for that. It will push people over to the recreational side, and that's just the point I wanted to make.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. The hour is getting towards 10 o'clock, so any of you that have got your car parked up there in that parking lot that's going to lock you in at 10 o'clock, you might want to get out of here. We thank you very, very much for your willingness, for those that are still here, that have stayed through this long time. We learn a lot from you, and we learned a lot tonight, so thanks again.
Thank you.